the chips are down, what are the things that you can survive with? When the chips are down, what are the things you can survive with? What are the things that form our essential services? Food, healthcare, communication, security. Every other thing is non-essential. Food. Do you still play in the food? You know, even before this lockdown, I've discovered that if there are two areas that you can never go wrong in Nigeria, two areas you can't go wrong in Nigeria. Number one is food. Number two is communication. Somehow we don't joke with the things that get into our mouths or the things that comes out of our mouths. When it comes to food, everyone wants to feed. When it comes to communication, Nigeria is among the countries that's always talking. Always talking. So when we discovered now that our essential services are grossly inadequate, how does that opportunity grab us? How do we look at it? How do we reposition ourselves? For me, you know, these things will always be cyclical. Things happen so that you will know what to do the next time. So if you are involved in a business that is non-essential, when situations like this happen, how are you going to ensure that you still keep feeding your family? How are you going to ensure that things will still, the oils of success will still be, you know, the wheels of success will still be oiled properly? It's a question that we need to ask and a question that we must have to find an answer to. The essential services, the food industry, where can you play in the value chain? Are you going to be in the supermarket supplying? Or are you going to run a canteen? Or are you going to, what exactly are you going to do? Okay, probably before we end, I'm going to give you a few things that you can do in the food industry. Amen? And then you are talking about the healthcare, communications, security. Do you understand and know that apart from our government security services, the army, the navy, the police, the air force, and the paramilitary, there is still such an inadequate ratio of security personnel to the community. That's why there is still, I believe, there is still so much gap to fill in private security network. Many offices are locked, they are closed, nobody's around them, but there's no one securing that place. If you run a private security business, you actually should be smiling to the bank now. Number two thing, Nigeria lacks healthcare facilities. Nigeria lacks healthcare. As a nation, as a country, we lack healthcare facilities. This situation has thrown up the position where state governors and state governments are looking all over the whole place to try to find spaces that they can use for isolation centers. That means our hospitals are not even equipped with such things. We don't have any social health management. We don't have clinical health management. We don't have community health management. The infectious disease hospitals are non-existent in Nigeria. I remember a few years ago, well, not a few years ago, quite some years ago, when I was younger, much younger, and then I had to visit one of my uncles that had tuberculosis. And he was in the IDH, Infectious Disease Hospital in Aba. And we went there just to give him food. Remembering today, I saw that it was so easy to walk in there with food, gave him the food, and walk out without protection. Nobody cared. Nobody cared that this is a disease that is highly infectious. No one cared. There was no nurse on duty. There was no security person. There was nothing. You walk in and you walk out. I don't know how many people walked in without tuberculosis and walked out with tuberculosis because we just don't have any community health management system in place. That means that there are gaps in these areas that individuals can fix. Now you may be thinking, a hospital, it takes so much to set up a hospital. Yeah, but probably you can ask yourself, where can I stay in the value chain that has to do with healthcare? Where can I stay? Wherever you position yourself, you will be sure that you can be relevant. because there is so much gaps in this industry. Praise God. Another thing I discovered is that we are prone, number 3 thing, is that we are prone to Shylock manipulations. We are prone to Shylock manipulations. I don't know how many of us realized this. Immediately the state government, Lagos state government, for instance, last week, Wednesday, or 2 weeks Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays back, announced that by Thursday there's going to be a partial lockdown. The prices of everything skyrocketed, especially the essential commodities. They skyrocketed. Son of mine told me he wanted to buy vitamin C. And then by the time he went there to buy, they bought the first pack. Came in after 1 hour to buy the second pack, the price has doubled. Someone bought face mask. By the time he went back 3 hours later, the price has not just doubled, it has tripled. And that person needed to buy chloroquine for one reason or the other. A pack that was supposed to be 10,000 naira in 5 hours was sold for 70,000 naira. We are prone to Shylock manipulations. What's the gap in this industry? It simply means that we don't have consumer protection. We don't have consumer protection. This is a place that NGOs can plug in. This is a place that individuals can plug in. If you can get into things that has to do with consumer protection, and also set up some other stores that can have prices that are fixed no matter what happens, you will have a lot of clientele. Amen. You can, we're not even talking about nose mask. These days, I mean, you can't find it on the streets anymore. Everything is gone. Why? Because someone decided that this is my opportunity. Hear me, people of God. When things like this happen, when there is a famine, when there is a war situation, then you open your mind and you start looking at the gaps. You start considering certain situations around your business and ask yourself, am I properly positioned in the next day that will come? Because surely COVID-19 is going to pass away. And then when all the dust settles, where will be the direction of your business? Where else will we be going to? Amen. Number 4, and I will end this morning on this. After this whole thing, I expect the cottage industry boom should happen in Nigeria. You know, one of the things that Sits at Home Order has done for us is to let you know that there are certain situations that all you know to do is what I can do in my house. The China that have become superpowers today, they all started from cottage industries. A few years ago, I was opportune to be in China for certain business transactions, and you can't imagine it, that just from one tiny place, not more than 2 rooms, someone was producing things that he was supplying all over the world. All over the world. We have this idea that before you become a manufacturer, you must have almost the entire Lagos as your real estate. No. This situation has taught us that you can actually start producing things right in your house. You know, if you're a young man and you have a 3-bedroom flat, you're living in one room, or one room is your bedroom, and then the second room is probably, you just have a kid, it's your kid's room, and then the third room is your guest room. And I ask you, what are you doing with a guest room? What are you doing with a guest room? What you should be thinking about is, how do I put this third room into use so that out of this third room, I can pay the bill of the entire house. I discovered that tailors, textile manufacturers and textile users, especially those in Aba, they are still working today. Why? Because they are right in their homes. Right in their homes. A young man will have a 3-bedroom flat, and then he will stay in one room, and the rest is business premises. That's the mindset that we ought to have. What can you do at home? What can you manufacture at home? What can you establish at home? What can you put your hands to do? Beloved people of God, when your mind has discovered the mind, then your hand has to mine the mind. When your mind has discovered the mind, your hand has to mine the mind. Amen. It simply means that this is a time that no space should be wasted. No space should be wasted. The critical thing is this: what am I making out of this? What am I making out of this? What am I making out of this? I saw an online post 2 days ago. One of my sisters, I saw that she was doing home-baked akara for breakfast. And then I kept wondering, what if she decides to service her neighborhood with just the home-baked akara? Do you understand and know that when people sit at home, one of the critical things is breakfast? That means that if you're going to do for one, you still have this capacity to do for 100. Do you know that you can just sit at home, only thing you are producing is akara? And then at the end of these 2 weeks, you'll be amazed how much that you are going to the bank with. Another thing is this: right at the comfort of your home, the comfort of your living room or your bedroom, with your laptop or with your phone, what online presence or what online business are you involved in? What online business are you involved in? Are you a part of an online chain? Are you a part of an online marketing? Are you a part of an online product dissemination? What exactly do you do with your phones? Apart from making calls and apart from probably chatting and all that. You know, if we're busy online, we won't be talking about 5G and COVID-19 and the fear and all the permutations that is going on. You'll be so critically busy making money that you wouldn't be thinking about all those things. Occupy till I come. Number one, find out what you're empowered with. Number two, find out where exactly you are supposed to occupy. Find out what you're empowered with, and find out where you are what exactly you're supposed to occupy. The final thing this morning: develop a different approach to your business. Develop a different approach. We've stayed at home for 1 week. We probably will stay at home for 1 more week, trusting God that this situation will be over. But in the next 1 week, can you sit down and think through and reanalyze your business system, reanalyze your business structures, reanalyze your business deliverables, and ask yourself, how else can I tweak this business so that it can deliver more to me? One of the things that we have discovered is that less can produce more. That means that you can work virtual and still produce a lot more than when you are on site. That means that your business systems can actually be reworked in such a way and in such a manner that if you go virtual, you can connect with more people. If you go virtual, you can connect with more people. What will you put in your business? What extra thing will you do to stay ahead in your business? Do you realize that even God thinks? Oh, don't be a person that does not think. No. You must be able to sit down out of the 24 hours that you have to yourself in this period. At least 3 hours every day. 3 hours every day. Sit down and ask yourself some questions. Sit down and think through. You know, one of the things that I have discovered is that our mind wants to work. Our mind applies to us for a job, and yet we do not give our minds work to do. When you don't give your mind work to do, someone else will give you work to do. When you don't give your mind work to do, another person just comes in, and before you know it, you start running the program. I was listening to someone on our WhatsApp platform, and then he said, you know, I just discovered that a mudu of rice contains 4,600 and something grains of rice. Can you imagine that? I mean, you sat down because of too much time on your hands. You sat down and you began to count it grain by grain until you got 4,600. And then he said his next assignment is going to sit down and count a bag of rice. Beloved people of God, it simply put is that your mind has applied to you to give him a job. But because you cannot think of what job to give my mind, then let me, start counting rice. Beloved people of God, when you finish counting rice after COVID-19, the grain of rice will still remain the same. All you will do with that grain of rice